Right. So hi, Johnny.
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm good. I am happy that you agreed to for me to interview you. I saw the show. First of all, you are the winner of Finding Magic Mike.
Yes.
Right. And so if you don't know what Finding Magic Mike is an HBO show, HBO Max, HBO show. And so basically they take these, they narrow it down to 10 contestants, and they take these men who are not professional dancers. Yeah, they're not strippers, they're not dancers, and they turn them into Magic Mike. So when I saw the show on like preview on my TV, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be interesting because I'm a fan of Magic Mike. I have to admit, I have no idea what the plot was. Somebody asked me about the plot in the original movie. I know it was a plot. All I remember is Channing Tatum and those dance moves. I have no idea what happened after that, right? No idea. Like it was a whole plot, no clueless. So when I saw the show and I was like, and I watched oh, this is really good. Then I saw that it narrowed down to like black men, and then like a black man won. I was like, oh shit, I have to get in touch with Johnny. But thank you for agreeing to be interviewed by me.
Of course, no problem. I love your content. So, I stalk your page and your websites and everything. So we're even.
Well, thank you. So, what made you want to say, I'm going to this show and I'm gonna get naked or semi-naked?
Or a version of nakedness, right? Yeah. Honestly, I just had nothing to lose at that point in my life. Well, last summer, I had just finished my career as a professional runner. I had started professional running at age 21, and I had represented like Team USA and all that. But being a runner isn't lucrative. It's fulfilling spiritually, but as far as a livelihood, it's really hard to sustain yourself. And I was struggling for a while. And so I became a substitute teacher at the same time. And I just wasn't happy with my life. I knew I wanted to be creative and be involved in something creative, but I didn't know what. And then honestly, the night after I retired from running, I was in my car driving. I was crying. I was praying. I was like, what do I do with my life? I'm not a runner anymore. I don't have purpose. And then literally 30 minutes later, a producer called me and was like, hey, we think you'd be cool for the show. You think you'd be interested? I was like, sure. So that's how it happened.
So, you're from North Carolina like me. North Carolina, the South. And so typically people in the South tend to be like on taboo stuff, right? I write about sex. So people in my family tend to be like, girl, what you doing? So when you told your parents, family, or whomever, that I'm going to go on TV to become Magic Mike, how do they react to that?
At first, it wasn't the best response. I expected that, being from the Bible Belt. Most families are conservative. Mine, well, I grew up in the church every Sunday. You got to wake up, go to church, school. You already know how it goes.
Yeah.
But I'm still spiritual, believe in God. But I feel like everyone has a separate journey. But then again, some people, they have strong beliefs. So it took my family a little while to come to terms with it, but they see that I'm very happy, so they're very supportive now.
Okay, and I think that happens a lot. Parents or family members sometimes don't see the vision that we see, and they kind of project their fears or their worries onto you when you want something that's kind of outside the norm, something they would do. But as they see that, okay, you can be successful with this, or okay, this is working out, they kind of get on the bandwagon later on, and that's fine.
Right.
I think you just can't really let naysayers, even if they're your parents or family members, dictate what your next move is, because then sometimes you will never get to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I was living my life based on my family's expectations and my coach's expectations of what they thought I should be. For a long time, I was training to be an Olympian and hopefully a medalist, and it never happened. But even when it didn't happen and I was ready to throw in the towel and say, I want to move on with my life, family and coaches, they were like, well, just keep going. And I was tired. I was worn out, honestly. But I kept going because everyone kept telling me to do it just because they were used to me doing it. But I was ready to move on. And I finally made a decision for myself, finally, to do something that's out the box. And it paid off.
It really did. So what did you learn about yourself from being on the show?
I learned how to communicate better, like my feeling.
Okay.
Typically, especially to friends, there are a lot of things that transpired that they didn't show on the show. And I had to really learn how to express myself to people in a way where it's not offensive and it's subtle and they can be receptive to it. I had to learn how to express my feelings to my friends and say, hey, that bothered me, or hey, you look good today. That's okay for a man to do. And so I just learned how to communicate with people and be effective at the same time.
I noticed that on the show that you and Adonis and a lot of the other guys on there were very affectionate, in a non-sexual way, but like in a friendly way. And that's something that Black men in America, because in Black men in other cultures, they're very affectionate towards their friends that we don't really see a lot. So was that something that was like kind of weird to you at first, or was something that you just kind of normally just kind of do in general?
It's not weird to me, but to people in my environment in the South is usually weird. So I never get to express myself that way.
Right.
But HBO really created a safe space for us to really be free and to express ourselves how we wanted to. And the guys were very receptive. So it was easy to say, hey, you look good, bro. And they not be like, oh, no homo, or that's some, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, thanks, I look good, and move on. And that's okay. Man can compliment men too. Why not?
Right. And I agree. I think men, need to be more open and more affectionate in their male bro friendships, and not always just do it romantically with romantic partners, but you can tell your friends, man, I love you, or whatever. I read this story about this it might have been, I can't remember where I read a story of. Anyway, it was about somebody in Africa, and they were like how the men there like they hold hands, and in a non-romantic situation, it's just friends. They hold hands. That's just what they do. So like, it's interesting how we have gotten away from that over in America, but they do that other places. So I thought it was really nice how you guys had this kind of like intimate friendship connection going over there. So I know the show was taped during COVID, right? And y'all had to stay in your hotel room and couldn't really interact with other people. So how was that? I guess like how did you keep in contact with like your people, your family members back home? Did you call them? How was that whole thing being away from them for so long?
Yeah, it was refreshing for me because I don't care for technology too much. I mean, obviously, we have to be on there for certain things, but in general, I'd rather just read or hang with friends or go for a walk or go hiking or be productive throughout the day. So for me, it wasn't an issue. I'm kind of like introverted in a way. I was fine with staying in my room. So for me, it wasn't an issue. I was cool with it.
Okay, cool.
But I did
for me,
As I did talk to my mom on the room phone though. So
okay, cool. Because like for me, I'm very social, social media. So like, I like to be around people. I don't know how being in my room, I don't know how I would have fared, but that's why people are different. I probably been crazy. I know one of the people on the show, he snuck someone in the room and he had to get sent home. Yeah, and I can see that. I can see like, okay, I've been here for X amount of weeks. People have needs,
right?
Right, like I don't know if I wouldn't have tried it either, but it didn't work out. And after that, anybody else who had any idea was like, okay, let me not do that. We see what happens there.
Right.
What was the hardest thing you had to learn in order to become Magic Mike?
To really let go of like my inner insecurities, especially as my sexuality. Honestly, I guess everyone's story was different. For me, it was that. I think that was what was holding me back in anything in life. So that was it for me, to really just be free. And just because you're free about your sexuality doesn't mean you have to talk about it all the time. It's just if someone approaches you and they ask, you can feel confident and not feel like you have to hide, because you feel like you're suffocating when you can't express that you're in love or your heart's broken. It sucks that you can't communicate to people. So I'm like, I don't want to live life like that anymore. So yeah.
So let's talk about that. So you brought sexuality. Let's talk about that. So I do know that you came out recently as
fluid, gay. To me, listen, I'm part of the LGBT community. So I guess I can say this, it's all the damn same thing. Like, people be trying to be so complicated with it mean this, it mean that. It's all the damn same thing to me. Oh, if people want to be mad up for it, you can be mad at me. I can take it. If you're queer, you're queer.
Okay.
That's it for me.
So how has that, because on the show, unless I missed it, I don't think you mentioned that, did you? Wow.
Yeah, I did. It was, I talked about it a lot in my interviews, but they cut it out, they cut it down, maybe because they want that to be my MO or my story. They really focused on another individual and his sexuality more so than mine. And sometimes I felt like, is it because I'm Black? Let's just be honest. I felt like, did they care about a Black man's sexuality? Apparently, I don't know. Because people still didn't know after the show because it was so quick.
Right, because I didn't catch it.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't catch it. Yeah.
So after the fact, after you come out and you posted about it on your Instagram, like, has it made a difference? Do you think?
It has, in positive ways and negative ways.
Okay.
Surprisingly, I have a lot of support. People are saying, I'm proud of you. Welcome to the team, all that. I'm like, welcome to the team. I've been a part of the team, right?
I've been doing this, ain't nothing new. I didn't tell y'all about it.
Right, y'all late. Let me stop. But yeah. It's mostly positive. I think the most negative is just, people walking out of your life because they don't agree or they don't condone whatever your lifestyle is. So that does suck. But it is what it is.
Okay. So let's get back to stripping. So it seems like, to me, I'm not a stripper, never done it, never tried it. It's like it would be kind of like a fun type thing, something to do. How hard or easy was it for you to kind of be in the moment when you had to like do these live shows? Was that hard? Was it easy? So like me, I will be all kind of in my body trying to make sure I'm doing stuff right. And then you have to be cognizant of the person in front of you. It's a lot going
on. It can be very overwhelming, especially our first performance. It was on top of a pool with all these lights. You had people in the pool, around the pool. It's like, but I think for me, the biggest thing was like rehearsals got us through. We pressed really hard during rehearsals as if we were performing. That way, when we did perform, it felt like rehearsal, so it wasn't too much of a stretch. So I think the rehearsals really just, really planted everything for us. So once we performed, it was easy. But then also, I'm used to running in front of hundreds of people, for a race. So you only have 30 seconds or a minute to, prove yourself within that race, and you've been training all year. So I'm used to pressure. So for me, it was okay.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're used to performing in front of people anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I know, like, I'll be like, oh my God, I got to do this in front of all these people, and I don't know. So when it came down to, it was just you, Adonis, and Nate. So how did it feel to be like, dang, one of us wonderful Black men is going to win this? Like, how was that like moment?
We had our conversations off camera, like, dang, 3 brothers. Like, I don't know if you remember America's Next Top Model, but when Eva and Yaya, where like the two black girls, it was the first season, it was two black girls at the end, everyone was watching. It kind of felt like that, like, man, three brothers, like this is pretty cool, because we didn't expect that at all. So it was refreshing, and just to know that three brothers were at the end, I mean, is very encouraging, for our community as a whole.
I agree. To see, like, dang, so a black man's going to win this. I thought it was like so dope. So did you watch the show after it aired?
Yes, because we did have a low-key premiere for the cast. So we watched it. If they didn't have the premiere, I wasn't gonna watch it until like maybe months later, but we just kind of watched it all together. So it wasn't too.
Because people say when you do a reality TV show, they edit a lot of things how they want it to be. So did you find that to be the case? Did you find that a lot of situations that they show on TV didn't actually happen in the way that they portrayed it to happen?
Well, I think whatever we gave the camera is what you guys saw. Obviously, there are a lot of things that are cut. As for me, I feel like I wish I would have been able to. Well, I showed a lot of personality, but it wasn't shown. You can see I'm silly here and there, but there are a lot of times where I was just being really funny, or I would say a joke or whatever, and it was cut. So I just wish people could have seen more a sillier side versus a shy side. Because I don't feel like they showed a lot of my personality, maybe a little bit, but I was really silly on the show, and I just wish it was a little bit more, they showed my funny side more.
People also say with your reality show that you should not read the comments or go to Twitter. So have you been to Twitter? Have you searched your name?
Listen, I read all the comments. Sometimes I'll comment. I respond to DMs. It don't faze me, but you know why it doesn't for me? Because being an athlete, I remember in the early 2000s or late 2000s, there were blogs, there were forums, and before social media, there are forums and people can type who their favorite athlete, who they think is going to win. And I remember going to the blogs, and coach would be like, don't look at the blogs, but I'll look at them anyways. And they'd be like, oh, Dutch isn't going to win. He sucks. Oh, they would always cheer for the other person. And I would just be like, so in my feelings, like, oh my gosh, people don't like me. And then, but it developed tough skin. And so I'm at the point now, like, who cares? You can say something negative. Like, I don't care. As long as you're talking about me, right?
Right. Listen, and that's true. Like, even negative, comments, you talking about me. Somebody's going to like, I wonder who this is. He's going to look this up and be like, let me see who they're talking about. I know I do that all the time. When people be talking about stuff on Twitter trending, I go look it up and see what they're talking about. It happens all the time. So yeah.
Okay.
Do you think that being Magic Mike, taking what you learned from the show, do you think it will improve like your bedroom skills?
Yeah, I think it is definitely helping my communication skills. It's just giving me this confidence to where I can walk around and just with my head held high, and I don't have to walk in a room full of people and shrug, because that's what I used to do. Because I mean, obviously, I'm not the greatest looking guy when I walk in the room and everyone's like, "Hi, Candy." That's not the case with me, and that's okay. But you can wow people by your presence, you know what I mean, and how you speak. So now I'm able to walk in the room very confidently. Now I can just have conversations with random people, and I feel good about it. I can talk about my life. I used to not be like that, so it's cool.
Yeah, I can see. So, Johnny, how old are you?
30. Well, I'll be 33 in a few days.
33. So, are you single, dating, mingling? What are you doing?
Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I'm very single, and it's okay. So
are you mingling? Is that a yes, I'm mingling, or no, I'm not mingling?
I mingle every now and then. I have my moments where I like to mingle, okay? And it's obvious when I do for the person who I'm mingling with. But yeah, I'm single, mingling, doing whatever until I can find that person, when they're ready.
So I know once you won like money and all that stuff. What do you do with your money if you care to share?
Well, once it all happens and My bank account's full. I think I'm gonna just save it until I know exactly what to invest into. But I do know, as a filmmaker, I'm going to pour back into my craft of writing, film equipment, lighting equipment, just to elevate my production.
And they offered you a role on one of the shows. Mm-hmm. What did you take the job? What show are you going to join?
Yeah, so there'll be an announcement tomorrow.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, which city? It'll be a press release and all that. So I may go on live tomorrow or just put out an announcement and let people know what city to come to and all that.
Yeah, I'm curious. I gotta come. So I gotta come.
Oh, I was like, oh.
I want to come. Yeah, I want to come.
I'm gonna have you sit right in the front too, like
oh, look at it.
Like, there go Ashley. Hey, Ashley.
Listen, I've never been to the live show.
I'm here. Sorry, my phone.
You're good. So I've never been to the live show. Mm-hmm. So I want to go. So yes, please let me know. Send me an inbox, okay? I want to go so I can come and support.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You definitely. If you love the show, oh my gosh, the live show is amazing.
So in closing, I guess my last question was, well, I think we already answered. I was asking you, how did Magic Mike, I guess, change your life? But we kind of already talked about that. You said it helped you be more confident, and it helped you to be able to, communicate better. So we won't ask that question again. So anyway, so how can people find you on social media? Where can they go to find Johnny?
Yeah, so Instagram, Twitter, I'm Dutch Filmmaker, all one word, 2 M's, not one, Dutch Filmmaker. And then I have a TikTok. I'm trying to be more, active on there, but it's the Johnny Dutch. So one word.
All right, Johnny, and hold on.